Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us, and welcome to Big Night on a serious note. I'm Mark O'Donnell, the President and CEO of Big Brothers Big Sisters of Eastern Massachusetts, and as well as a former two-time Big Brother myself. I started my role in July in the midst of a global pandemic, major conflict over social injustice and inequality in our country, and during a time of great divide. To say it has been a challenging start is an understatement, but I must say it has also been highly inspiring and an optimistic time. During a time when it may have made sense to halt service, so many of you have stepped up to help keep us going. When gathering restrictions postponed all spring fundraising events, you pivoted with us, attended fishing tournaments, 4 golf tournaments, all without the receptions that were there designed to celebrate you and recognize your support. Your support never ceased, and in many cases it increased, and you saw our need to grow. Because of you, we were able to get to work restructuring the very core service we provide and adapt to the challenging needs in our community. We virtually interviewed, matched, and supported bigs and littles and saw them thrive. The spark of that connection was still possible. Thanks to you, we have continued our work creating over 500 new matches. Some of them, I hope, are joined us tonight. But in total, we are currently serving over 3,200 families. For those families, we also have expanded our resources to accommodate their needs, offering connections to aid with food and housing security for some, and have done our best to support the shifting needs of remote learning. Those families put their faith in us to offer help in a safe and impactful way. We are so grateful they did, and that they continue to do so. So thank you for your trust. The volunteers were facing their own challenges with isolation and uncertainty. And instead of wallowing, they rose to the occasion and applied to be bigs. They put their found time into something good and have been rewarded with fulfillment of a personal connection. And because of our work continued and our connections with these families and volunteers were made possible, we see that the seemingly impossible resilience and hope that these young people emanate was awe-inspiring. And this brings us to tonight. What is usually hailed as the party of the year wasn't going to happen. So no sensational band, no open bar, no decadent food, no fantastic theme or costume attire. And so, like many other things this year, we shifted. There were no grumbles about what we lost, only the outpouring of how you could help. And you did so in spades. We are well on our way to raising $1 million this evening. And a special thanks goes to all of those who set aside the ample benefits that come along with a great big night, and you gave because it was the right thing to do and the need is greater than ever. The Big Night Committee, led by Tim Dibble and Chris Mitchell, along with Raina Hanaway and Frank Petz, they spent months brainstorming how to offer a meaningful content instead of a lavish affair. And so we hope you enjoy a very different take on Big Night on a serious note. Tonight we will have prepared a different program to honor the seriousness of this past year and to celebrate so many who have made our continued work possible. We will hear from Governor Charlie Baker, who will share some remarks, including his personal experience as a big brother in our program. We will also hear from Artis Stevens, the brand new President and CEO of Big Brothers Big Sisters of America. We will take our time to honor this year's unsung heroes, the strong and inspiring children in our community. We have a great fortune to serve. After our dedication, I will return to ask you to give what you can, but please don't feel you have to wait. There are multiple ways to give at any point during this program, through the donate button on your screen. And if you're encountering any problems, there's help instructions in the chat. But first, I'd like to welcome a very special young man who personally I've had the pleasure of working with for the past 2.5 years. Justin Jimenez is a former Little, and he's here to share his story and also to welcome Governor Baker. So Justin?
Sound of sunshine coming down.
Thank you, Mark. My name is Justin Jimenez, and I'm a former Little and employee of Big Brothers Big Sisters of Eastern Mass. I'm so happy to have been a part of a great organization for many years. It was about 15 years ago that I was first matched with my big, and that came during a really important time in my life. My parents had recently been divorced, and I was really looking for some outside support. And while my friendship helped to provide me with that support and connection, it also helped, give me a different perspective outside of my families and helped me discover new places in my city that I had never been to before. And I think it's that spirit of connection that really lives in the fabric of our organization. As the person who matched me all those years ago is still a part of our agency. And around a year ago, I actually had the opportunity to match his daughter and her big. And Big Night has always been a special night for us. But while this year our location is different, the sentiment stays the same. We're all here to support the mission and the littles in our program. Thank you so much to the attendees, the families, volunteers, supporters, staff, and so many others that helped put this together and contributed to its success. And I'd also like to add in that now is a really important time to be a big, as we have so many children in our community that are looking for some form of support. And as an agency, we're specifically looking for big brothers at the moment. It's also very special to have Governor Charlie Baker, a former big brother himself, join us tonight. He's had a very busy year looking out for all of us, and we're very fortunate to have him with us. I'm looking forward to hearing what he has to share. So without further delay, please join me in welcoming Governor Baker. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. This is Massachusetts Governor Charlie Baker. Thank you to Big Brother, Big Sister of Eastern Massachusetts for this opportunity to share some thoughts for Big Night 2021, held virtually this year. I also want to congratulate Mark O'Donnell, the new president and CEO of Big Brother, Big Sister of Eastern Mass. Mark, I just want you to know that I became a Big Brother in the 1970s. Bill Mannix was then running the operation, and he was the guy I interviewed with when I became a Big Brother. Bill, I think, was followed by John McPherson. He's a wonderful guy with a great mustache, did just a beautiful job on behalf of so many kids for so many years. And then Wendy Foster stepped into the role and made it her own for 15 years. And I know, Mark, you had a chance to get to know Wendy, and I just want you to know that everybody is behind you, everybody's pulling for you, and everybody hopes and anticipates and expects, no doubts, that you'll be able to continue the wonderful tradition and trajectory of this really special organization. This event, obviously, is usually an incredible opportunity to gather with supporters and everyone involved with Big Brother, Big Sister to celebrate all you do for young people here in Eastern Massachusetts. It's also usually a really good party. But like so many other events and traditions, COVID had other plans for this one. So while my wife Lauren and I are disappointed we can't be with you tonight, we're very grateful to the team at Big Brother, Big Sister for their work to make this event happen virtually, and especially to all those who are supporting Big Brother, Big Sister this year. In fact, this year more than ever, it's crucial that we acknowledge and continue to support the great work that's being done by this organization and by everybody who's involved with it. The pandemic has disrupted everything about our way of life, and that's especially true for the kids and families who are served by Big Brother, Big Sister. As you all know, and as a former Big Brother myself, I have a deep appreciation for the work of this organization, and especially for the bigs and the littles who are at the core of the program. My little brother John and I hung out together pretty much every week for almost 20 years. I met him when he was 11 and I was 17, and I ended up watching him graduate from high school, graduate from college, graduate from business school, and I was best man at his wedding. This is in many respects a little unusual, I suppose, with respect to how this program works. But I know, based on personal experience and the work and the experience I've seen of so many others over the years, this program changes lives, and that's in many respects what makes it so special. So this year, your efforts to provide mentorship, guidance, and support for at-risk kids across the Commonwealth is more important than ever. And we recognize what this pandemic has done to communities and families, and especially to kids. It's exacerbated concerns about food security, housing stability, and access to quality education. These challenges and others have created enormous stress and disruption for kids and families across Massachusetts, heck, across the country, and in some cases around the world. Fortunately, Big Brother, Big Sister hasn't missed a step and has played an important role in helping give kids the sense of stability that's so important as they grow and develop. You've shifted to virtual matches while still providing the valuable connections and relationships that make this program work, and it's a great example of one of the silver linings that came with all the changes and adjustments we all had to make to deal with COVID. We've gotten a chance to witness organizations adapt and respond, and to showcase how creative and special the people of this state can be, especially when they're pushed. It's something we've seen over and over again in our own work with community organizations as they respond to the challenges created by COVID. For example, on food security, we developed a public-private partnership and put $56 million into this issue to address it and to help families keep food on the table, and to build the infrastructure to support them over time. We've supported local food banks and food pantries, school meals programs, and others, all of whom are finding unique and creative ways to deal with the challenges of the pandemic and get meals to those who need them most. On housing, we created an eviction diversion initiative and support organizations that are doing rapid rehousing, homelessness prevention, and other initiatives to try to make sure we can keep everybody safe. And through Mass Housing's Commonwealth Builder program, we're supporting homeownership opportunities, especially for people in communities of color, with a $60 million home ownership investment support. On economic opportunity, we listened and worked with our Black and Latino advisory commissions about ways that we could promote educational and job training programs that support people of color. And our fiscal '22 budget proposal makes continued investments in these priorities, including things like summer jobs programs for kids, workforce training, and our early college program, which in many respects I believe is a national model. It also includes a $17 million investment to create more vocational job training opportunities. Career technical institutes is what we call them, which represent an important pathway to help people move up the economic ladder. And we're proposing over $80 million to strengthen our behavioral health system by making it easier for people to get connected with behavioral health services. And we'll continue to find opportunities to invest in programs that strengthen our communities, and especially those who've been disproportionately impacted by the pandemic. And tonight, as we near the end of Black History Month, I also want to take a minute to talk about our work to support communities of color over the course of this very difficult year. The tragic murder of George Floyd at the hands of police last summer sparked a movement. It prompted thousands of people to peacefully push for change. In Massachusetts, that movement led to bipartisan police reform legislation that significantly increases accountability and transparency in law enforcement. I'm proud of the process that we took to get this legislation enacted. We listened to everyone, we recognized our common goals, and we worked together to achieve results. And I was proud to sign this legislation, which brings the much-needed transparency and accountability here in the Commonwealth. It's a big step forward in promoting racial justice, and I'm glad the Commonwealth was able to be a leader in this. As we respond to the pandemic and related economic disruption, we're also working to support minority-owned businesses. We have the largest small business grant program currently in process in America, and a big piece of that $720 million program has gone to companies that are owned by Black and brown citizens right here in Massachusetts. We're also working to expand the state's supplier diversity program, building on work we've done to give minority-owned businesses and women-owned businesses more access to contracting opportunities with state government. And now we're prioritizing communities of color in our vaccine distribution effort, working with community health centers and other trusted partners to connect with these communities about the importance of getting vaccinated, and building on the $2.5 million public awareness campaign in multiple languages that we delivered with the same message. This year, we've had to fight two related pandemics, COVID-19 and systemic racism, and we've made progress in addressing both. But I think everybody knows there's more to be done, and we're committed to working with community leaders and organizations, including folks like Big Brother, Big Sister, to keep making progress on these issues. Let me close with this. I hope I don't have to tell anyone involved with this event about how important this organization is. The impact that this organization has on kids and young people and families here in Massachusetts is profound, and I say that from personal experience. This past year has underscored the importance of the relationships and connections that you build. And for anyone thinking about getting involved in this program, either as a big brother or sister, or as a parent or caregiver interested in enrolling their child, I tell you that it's an incredible, life-changing program. In many respects, it changed my life and gave more to me than it did to my little brother over the course of our 20-some years together. Let me close just by congratulating Big Brother, Big Sister of Eastern Mass on another terrific event, despite the challenges of the pandemic. And Lauren and I hope we have a chance to join you next year in person at one of those really special, big nights that you all have made famous. For now, I hope you enjoy the rest of the program, the rest of the evening, and here's to a way better 2021. God bless.
Wow, that was incredible. Thank you so much, Governor Baker, for your kind and encouraging words for myself as well as the organization. I look forward to continuing the strong and meaningful work that so deeply impacted you and the thousands of others in the area. Your economic relief and policy reform serves to improve the lives of the same communities we support daily, and we are so grateful for your leadership through these challenging times. The long-standing relationship you have with John is exemplary of our program and the reasons our teams work so hard to create and sustain these connections. But now we turn our attention to another strong leader, Ardis Stevens, the brand new president and CEO of Big Brothers Big Sisters of America. Ardis comes to us most recently from the National 4-H Council, and before that the Boys and Girls Club of America in the Atlanta Public Housing Agency, with a combined 25 years of leadership experience in positive youth development. He is also the very first black CEO in the 116-year history of the organization, and brings nonprofit management, marketing, and branding skills unmatched by any other. His expertise is so well suited to propel our service ahead and help kids better thrive nationwide. We are so looking forward to all that he brings to our national organization. So with that, Ardis.
Hello, I'm Ardis Stevens, and I'm proud to be the new president and CEO of Big Brothers Big Sisters of America. It's hard to believe that I've been here about a month, and the outreach from your team, your colleagues, and the entire Big Brothers Big Sisters family has just been so amazing. You've welcomed me with open arms, and I'm grateful. I recently launched a 90-day virtual Listening to Learn tour to connect with local agency leaders, and I'm looking forward to the day when we can attend events like this one in person. Your resilience after a trying year has shown through. Know that the work you did saved many kids from falling through the cracks, and it changed the direction for many more who could have gone astray. As I've had a chance to listen and learn, it's wonderful to hear some of the highlights of your agency. When I turned to my national staff and I asked them about the great things you're doing, here's what they told me. Big Brothers Big Sisters of Eastern Massachusetts is the second largest agency in the country, serving more than 3,500 bigs and littles in 2020. You've had continuous growth since 2015, which is remarkable considering the challenges we've seen across the network. As one of our national team members shared, you've been leaders in innovation, going beyond what you should do to be able to solve problems with efficacy and the proven outcomes and the data to back it up. It's the leadership found here and with the other 230 plus agencies around the country that remains committed to establishing meaningful, quality mentoring relationships. And they will help take Big Brothers Big Sisters to the next level. And all of you who are here should give yourself a pat on the back. Your volunteerism, your advocacy, your financial investment has made an impact and helped make this happen. So we applaud you, as we know the road ahead won't be easy. My goal is to continue to work with you all to find out how do we take the best practices to scale? What can we learn? How do we avoid the pitfalls? And we know it's critically important to do so. So when you consider what our youth are facing, the worry about the pandemic, racial unrest, social distancing that can lead to social isolation, Big Brothers Big Sisters has been their lifeline. And you've done all of this while making sure your own staff and families remain healthy and whole. We're definitely the definition of bigger together. When it comes to my vision on the national scale, it's focusing on the villages that kids need. It takes caring adults dedicating a few hours a month to mentor a child in their community. It requires more men answering the call to reduce the waiting list of thousands of boys seeking a positive male role model. It will demand the financial investment of corporate America, as well as the ingenuity and giving of their employees, customers, and stakeholders to scale mentoring programs nationwide. It will depend on government, education institutions, and nonprofit partners to engage in innovative research, practices, and public policy, creating more access to mentoring. And it will take your grassroots involvement and donations to support frontline staff, like local Big Brothers Big Sisters agency leaders, who are changing lives, but need the capacity to serve the most vulnerable youth in their communities. It's been an honor to share this message. And congratulations to your work, and I'm excited to see what comes next.
Artists, thank you so much for joining us this evening. I have enjoyed our conversations tremendously, and I look forward to working with you. We are honored that you consider us partners, and we are all excited to see how you propel the national organization forward to fit the ever-changing landscape of the country, but also to meet the needs of our youth. Every year at Big Night, we gather around and we watch a video that plays tribute to one of our honorees. But this year, I'd like to play an extra special message that we put together to celebrate the children we serve. They are the backbone of our work. And this year, no one person or group deserves to be honored more than them. So with that, please join me for this very special message.
One of our first worries or fears was that we was not going to be able to meet or see each other for a long time.
I'd say the biggest fear was the loss of connection.
I was concerned that kids wouldn't really understand what was happening and that they wouldn't know how to express their worries or their fears or know how to deal with all these changes, especially since as adults, we were struggling to understand it.
Bigs have really jumped in. They've learned to adapt.
They've put in some extra work, definitely, than they were doing before. Extra match support calls, coming and being like, this is working, this is not working.
You know, I think we're living through a time where we all try to stick together, and so it hasn't been easy for any of us, but, you know, there's power when we do it together.
I always wanted to become a big, but living farther from where our littles typically are wouldn't have worked. So having the opportunity to be virtual was great, and it just felt like a time where more littles really needed that support.
This is, I think, actually the most exciting part for me, like the hopefulness of when this ends and the connections that we've all developed, the bigs and the littles, the deeper connection that they've gotten from being forced to connect like this. I've had so many bigs just say, this is hard, but the result is worth it and the impact is worth it.
I think that worried me is that we wouldn't be able to hang out, and I was worried that we weren't be able to talk anymore. It stopped because I realized we could do Zooms together.
Me and Eric had our first Zoom meeting in April, and that was actually good.
It was something where once we learned that there was so much that we could talk about at any given week, it became something to look forward to.
We figured out games to play. We figured out a way to make it So it's really fun for us.
They're so smart. Every single one of them is so smart. The second I get onto a virtual call with a little, they want to share their screen, they want to teach me something, and it's been such an awesome opportunity to really get to see them in their own element because they are virtual right now and they get a chance to really share with us.
Before, I used to be a lot more to myself, just trying to get through the day, and you want to talk to somebody, and my problem was that I wouldn't talk to anybody. It isn't healthy when you're pretty much holding in emotionally how you feel, whether it's always good or it's completely bad. Once Ryan had came in pretty much to my life, he let it be known that it's okay to talk to people.
Our friendship is literally like a big sister and little sister, and I think it was a good match because we actually now are like best friends. First time I saw her, in her face, I know that she was always be there for me. I know that anytime that I fall down, she would pick me right back up. And I just knew that she was the one for me. It's just really special to have a big sister.
Something fun that I'm looking forward to do when we get to see each other again. First of all, give the biggest hug to him. Second, beat him in basketball multiple times.
He said he was looking forward to beating you in basketball.
Probably just seeing her in person. She said maybe after COVID-19 because she has 3 cats and I just really want to meet them. So she said maybe I could go into the backyard of her house, just see her in person. It's just going to be really fun. We have a lot of things we want to do.
A lot of our students are getting through this with such a high level of resilience and grace. So I'm just really proud of them, and they give me hope for what's to come next. And one of the biggest things I think that keeps me going is just like, what are you guys gonna do? Right? Like my students are graduating this year, so it's like, you guys are gonna go on and do great things.
If I had $1 million, I'd build a tree fort in our yard. If I had $1 million.
Welcome back to Big Night on a serious note. That was wonderful, and thank you to everyone involved for sharing your stories with us. Now, I had to stand for this because in person, we would hold support match right about now, where I'd ask you to raise your hand and offer any additional support for the evening. We can't do that in person, so let's take a run at this. Let's try to cross the finish line together. At last check, we were about $70,000 away. So let's do it. Let's honor the children. Let's honor those in our community that were going to be matched because of tonight. And I ask you to get your card handy, get it within reach. And if you're able to, enter a gift below or on the screen to support this mission. It is worth noting that the money raised tonight will match the next 500 kids with caring adults in positive one-to-one mentoring relationships. So while you're entering your information, I'll share some examples of how we use those dollars and perhaps call out some names as I see the donations come through on the bottom of my screen. I have to say, Big Night is always good on site for at least one $25,000 gift. So I don't want to let this crowd off the hook yet. This generosity means you believe in our mission, you want to help, and obviously you're in a position to go big. The impact of those large donations brings peace of mind and opportunity to so many of the households we talked about this evening. Now at $10,000, it creates and supports 5 matches. But to give you some context, every match has a multiplying effect in our community. So 5 matches can include up to 40 people when you consider staff, guardians, teachers, siblings, littles, bigs, big spouses, big families, and beyond that. Those same 5 matches in the aggregate could represent over 50 years together. Just look at Governor Baker's 30-year match. So I'm going to pause right now because I'm being flagged down and that your gifts are beginning to come through. So I want to thank Boston Properties, Brian and Stephanie Spector, of course, every year, John and Margot Davis and the Davis family, Boston Private, Gabby and Don McRae, Ginny Lytle, and Tony Godfrey, Colliers International, DDJ Capital Management, Paul Margolis, thank you, New England Development, Lacey Garcia of Willow, the DeNovi family, Bill and Cindy Rand, oh, and Linda and Ben Butcher, thanks again. Greg Garland, the Dwyer family, and Brendan and Catherine McVeigh, thank you so much. But on top of making matches, tonight is also going to allow us to offer transportation for littles to travel to one of our collegiate partners. An example of this would be bus service to and from Bay Village Housing Development in Lowell. This is where littles are going to go spend the day with their bigs on the UMass Dartmouth campus. These gives will also provide dinner to matches in one or all of our Mentor 2.0 school-based programs. You don't know this, but during the school year, we are serving over 800 littles and bigs dinner at their schools every month. And just $500 will create 5 lunch and learn recruiting sessions with local businesses or community groups. We all know the importance our bigs are, and those 5 sessions can help sign up as many as 50 potential bigs that could be matched with one of the kids waiting for a big. But this year, more than ever, all of you can make a difference. But please, don't take my word for it. Sometimes moms just know best. So let's hear from Aaron's mom, Daphne.
And for mom, as a single mom, raising a young man out here looking for male guidance and male companionship and someone to help our children find their way in this world, Big Brothers, Big Sisters is vital to that. They give us the opportunity to not only help to support our children to get to where they need to be, but then they support the parents in helping them to get to where they need to be. They give us the advice. They reach out and they give us connections. They give us resources. So it's more than just an agency that takes care of the littles. They take care of the bigs and they take care of the adults as well. So I echo what my son said. $1 is a lot. $5 is a lot. Whatever you can give. Winston Churchill said it best. You make a living by what you get. You make a life by what you give. So I'm asking everyone to please give and help me to help another young person go up to be the young man that my son has gotten to be.
Daphne said it perfectly. And how do I know that? Because as you see on your screen while Daphne was talking, we surpassed $1 million. Our organization's theme is Bigger Together, and that's what we're doing here tonight. We're combining our efforts so that moms like Daphne can sign up and provide her child with caring big brothers or big sisters. So thank you, Daphne, and thank you, Aaron. This organization is well positioned today because it has great leaders, or it's had great leaders like Nora Leary and Wendy Foster. If they were standing with me today, we would agree that our staff is the heart and engine of the agency. They were sent home last March thinking they would return 2 weeks later, but instead spent the last year reinventing our service delivery to a then 3,600 active matches. And they proceeded to make 500 new matches on top of that. Our staff were forced to navigate their own lives, their safety, and emotions about changing the world around us, about the changing world around us. They did this with grace, humor, enthusiasm. And the kids of the program always came first. I am so grateful for this group, and I'm excited for where we're going to go from here. And I just noticed State Street came in with $25,000, so I want to make sure I'm looking at the screen now. We are live, and I want to make sure everyone knows that. Our doors to the agency remain open. So everyone here tonight, please reach out. Apply to volunteer as a big, join one of our committees, or refer a mom or a guardian whose child could use a friend right about now. This work is a huge collaborative undertaking. We have gotten through this year relying on one another, and because of your support, we're going to continue, as time goes on, to partner with more and more families during what we know are going to be challenging years ahead for the kids as they play catch-up. So in closing, I must say, just like Governor Baker said, I'm looking forward to this time next year when we could return to our regularly scheduled in-person big night. However, this time, I hope it's not on a serious note. Until then, thank you, stay healthy, and have a wonderful night.
Let's celebrate. There's a party going on right here, a celebration to last throughout the years. So bring your good times and your laughter too. We gon' celebrate your party with you. Come on now. Celebration. Let's all celebrate and have a good time. And have a good time. It's time to come together. It's up to you. What's your pleasure? Everyone around the world, come on!
It's a celebration.
It's a celebration. Celebrate good times, come on. Let's celebrate. There's a party going on right here, a dedication to last throughout the years. So bring your good times and your laughter too. We gon' celebrate and party with you. Come on now. Let's all celebrate and have a good time, yeah, yeah. Celebration. We gon' celebrate and have a good time. It's time to come together. It's up to you. What's your pleasure? Everyone around the world, come on!
It's a celebration.
It's a celebration. Celebrate good times, come on. Let's celebrate. Come on now. Celebrate good times, come on. Let's celebrate. We're gonna have a good time tonight. Let's celebrate. It's alright. We're gonna have a good time tonight. Let's celebrate. It's alright, baby. We're gonna have a good time tonight. Let's celebrate. It's alright. We're gonna have a good time tonight. Let's celebrate. It's alright.